All human things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarchs must obey. This Flecknoe found, who, like Augustus Young, was called to empire and had governed long, in prose and verse, was owned without dispute through all the realms of nonsense absolute. This aged prince, now flourishing in peace, and blessed with issue of a large increase, worn out with business, did at length debate to settle the succession of the state, and pondering which of all his sons was fit to reign and wage immortal war with fate, cried, "Let his resolve, for nature pleads that he should reign who most resembles me. Shadwell alone my perfect image bears, mature in dullness from his tender years. Shadwell alone of all my sons is he who stands conformed in full stupidity. The rest to some faint meaning makes pretense, but Shadwell never deviates into sense. Some beams of wheat on other souls may fall, strike through and make a lucid interval, but Shadwell's genuine night admits no ray. His raising fogs prevail upon the day. Besides, his goodly fabric feeds the eye and seems designed for thoughtless majesty. Thoughtless as monarch oaks that shade the plain and spread in solemn state supinely reign. Hewed and surely were but types of thee, thou last great prophet of tautology. These are, in my very Indian rendering, the first few lines of John Dryden's classic satire, Mac Flecknoe. Now, Mac Flecknoe has its history and contexts. His fight with the famous poet Thomas Shadwell, who was much more famous than Dryden during his lifetime, but after his lifetime, had Dryden not written Mac Flecknoe, and possibly we won't have even remembered who Shadwell was. So it is good to have our poet as a lover, as Shakespeare immortalized the fair youth, though without name, and I mean a good poet. And it is equally good to have rivalry with a great poet, because one may be immortalized by him, though the person who is the rival may himself be of little worth. So if you find any great poet who has the potential of becoming great like Dryden or Shakespeare in future, do let me know. I would try to strike a relationship in love or hate with him. Anyway, now mock epic is the format. Mock epic, without going into the nitty-gritties now, which you will go to from your glossary of Abrams and other books, actually it mocks the epic form. Epic, as we know, is the highest form of literature in any given literature. Though in European tradition, Aristotle had put it in second place, secondary to tragedy, but by common consent, epic is the highest form. Mock epic means it mimics the epic form by extolling to a great height something of a very trivial nature. So many epics are there at the back of it, almost all Western epics. It's a miniature poem, but most of all, Milton, his immediate, in a way, contemporary, we can say, or immediate predecessor, if you like it, we can relate a few lines to Milton as well. They're roughly mostly contemporaries anyway. So, it starts in a general note, with a general note. All human things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarchs must obey. So kings cannot defeat death. All human things, whatever is human, subject to death. WBH. Whatever is born is begotten and dies, caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of unaging intellect. Therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. Anyway, another poem. So, but it is well known to us that everything that is human is very temporal. So we must anticipate that something very great is going to be discussed after death in the form of tragedy or epic, death of some great king, etc. But no, what we find is that he has identified Richard Flecknoe, who wrote some very bad poems and write ups, as the prince, rather king, of the kingdom of dullness. So, just as in the kingdom of wheat or kingdom of power, one who is the most wittiest, or one who is the most powerful will become the king. In the kingdom of dullness, the counting starts from the bottom. One who is the dullest will be the king. So, it is standing first from the bottom. As some student told his father after he failed in the class, that I have stood first but from the bottom. So similarly, Richard Flecknoe is an imaginary scene, of course. Flecknoe has produced a lot of nonsense. We don't need many examples. Lot of people, and these days there is a proliferation after this availability of digital media. All of us are writers, publishers, speakers. Even now, probably Dryden would have called this also another nonsense. Anyway, so a lot of nonsense is produced, but even nonsense also there is a limit to it. I mean, human limit. Though his intelligence is full of nonsense, according to Dryden, here I may bring Einstein, one famous comment. Einstein said, two things are unlimited. One is the universe, and the second is human stupidity. And he added that I am not aware of the first. That is, the universe may have limits, but human stupidity has no limit. So, anyway, Dryden was a precursor of Einstein in this regard. So, but then physical limitations are there. Though his brain is full of stupidity, but body is decaying. So he must have a prince. As kings, just previously Absalom, that thing, and Absalom and Achitophel, or Achitophel as someone calls it. Anyway, so there was a lot of succession wars going on as usual in England, intricate reference to that. But I would say more importantly, the father and the son, Jesus sitting to the right of God the Father. That kind of, the word son, S-O-N, is very important in Christianity. More in Catholicism, but also in Protestantism, because it refers to almost always the son in such important announcement. So, Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son of God. So similarly, who can be the perfect son for Shadwell, though he has many sons? So, sorry, but Flecknoe. So he identifies that Shadwell can be the perfect son. Why? That he of all my sons is fit to reign and wage immortal war with wit. So he can fight immortal war with wit. Resonance of Saturn in Paradise Lost. So never to yield, fight God, like that. So, and beautiful description of stupidity. I don't think it has been surpassed by any, as it says, that he is so stupid that even sometimes some beam of intelligence may fall on other souls, just as even in the darkest days, nights, sometimes we have some star, moon. But Shadwell's night is so genuine, night of stupidity, that you never see any ray of light there. Shadwell's genuine night admits no ray, his rising fogs prevail upon the day. And during daytime also it's so foggy, like it's too foggy, you cannot drive your car, you can't even walk. We haven't seen this kind of fog here, but if you go to Cherrapunji and other places, may. So it's day and night. There's also an indication of being drunk, inebriated. All kinds of innuendos are brought, okay? Even Flecknoe's worn out with business. This business, there is innuendo. So his rising fogs prevail upon the day. The rest to some faint meaning makes pretense, but Shadwell never deviates into sense. So other people, though they may be stupid, sometimes they even pretend that, oh yeah, that's a great thing I have understood. Sometimes I also do. We have to, because we don't understand everything, we cannot. But Shadwell is so stupid that he even doesn't know how to pretend that he has at least understood something. So that is the meaning. That even by mistake. So the rest to some faint meaning make pretense, but Shadwell never deviates into sense. Even by mistake also he will not come to sense. Everything he writes, produces, speaks is utter nonsense. So it is like there is a famous Bengali song, I think by Hemanto Mukherjee, Bhuleo tobu to she bhul kore na. Yes, even by mistake, he doesn't remember me about lover, beloved. So similarly, Shadwell never deviates into sense. So Shadwell alone of all my sons is he who stands confirmed in full stupidity. Some people are so fully stupid and they look all the more stupid when they, you know, stand confirmed in their stupid ideas and produce further stupids and stupidity thereby. So, go that Einstein quote. So he stands confirmed, not in wisdom or knowledge, but full stupidity. And then later he says one of his literary vices is repetitive, keeps on repeating things like a teacher. So Heywood and Shirley were but types of thee, thou last great prophet of tautology. That he is as if saying things again and again is tautology, unnecessary repetition. Indian English, by the way, is famous for that. Some smaller tautologies are like, he returned back from that place. Returned back is not necessary, that is tautology. So, but there may be paragraphs, passages, issues which are tautological. So, Flecknoe says that, I have often said Shadwell to make to mean, Flecknoe. This shows Dryden's success. He has, just as God the Son and God the Father are one, he has evoked such an imagery of both the stupid father and the stupid son, that they become almost one. So this is about the mock epic, is about the coronation or crowning, corona, that crown, my God, very dangerous. So coronation of this prince Shadwell as the king, as the prince, another king of the kingdom of dullness. What new I can bring here? One I have brought is that stupidity thing of Einstein related. Second, more importantly, since I am known to be a post-colonial person, rightly or wrongly, look at the allusions to the empire. Was called to empire and had governed long. Towards the end also, heavens bless my son, and from Barbados let him reign, to his kingdom may no end be known, etc., etc., coming. So the empire as imagery is coming, albeit is the empire of dullness, but how here side becomes relevant, how empire becomes a prominent trope in a satire on a dull person, because the imperial process was on. So I think in this light also, during the lockdown, you can have a look at Flecknoe. Again, these are classics. Whether it is currently in your semester or not doesn't matter. If you want to stick to English after your semester business also, you'll have to sail through. Sail along with these texts. So thank you very much. We'll again be back.